Close Grizzlies general manager, Chris Wallace talks about why JB Bickerstaff is their head coach. Ronald Tillery, the Commercial AppealThe Grizzlies could win the NBA lottery because of Elliot Perry's lucky socks. The Grizzlies could win the NBA lottery because they have the second best odds. But the Grizzlies really should win the NBA lottery because they are sending Perry and a young man named Courtney Love to represent the franchise in Chicago, which is what the organization is all about. More, Grizzlies working to add Magic's Chad Forkier as lead JB Bickerstaff assistant coach. Do I feel lucky? Said Love, 14. I would say I feel blessed, so you can have your 4-leaf clovers, your lucky charms, your horseshoes, your lucky pennies and your rabbit's feet. 1 of 100, 2 of 100, 3 of 100, 4 of 100, 5 of 100, 6 of 100, 7 of 100, 8 of 100, 9 of 10, 10 of 10. Autoplay. Show thumbnails. Show caption. Slide. Next slide. Grizzlies are going with an 8th grader who was reading at 3 years below grade level when he started at Grizzlies Prep but is now reading at 4 years above grade level, and who takes care of his mother who is legally blind. I can't think of a better representative. Perry said. This organization has always strived to be about something more than the games. Elliot Perry, a great example for Memphis. To be clear, the NBA has a rule that the actual representative on stage has to be connected to the franchise. So Perry, one of the team's minority owners, will be the one stage. That's just right too, of course. Perry represents the best of this town. He's the perfect example of what young men in Memphis can become if they have the right support. Elliot Perry, photo, Memphis Grizzlies Foundation. Perry's grandfather, Jesse Perry, dug ditches for the city. He is one of the men captured in Ernest Withers' famous "I Am a Man" photograph. Perry never thought about going to college until an older, neighborhood kid named Michael Tony took him to the University of Memphis campus and showed him what it was all about. Calkins, Grizzlies coach JB Bickerstaff will do it right way, like NBA coaching dad, coal mining family. Perry had to take the ACT 4 times before he could get a qualifying score. He went on to star at Memphis, played more than a decade in the NBA, and then returned to the city where he grew up, so he could be to kids like Love what Tony had been to him. That's what's different about the Grizzlies organization. The people who brought it to Memphis, and the people who run it today, understand that life is a lottery, too. February 4, 1989. Elliot Perry is shown in a game against Louisville. Photo, Dave Darnell. Did you grow up with one parent or two? Did you grow up in this zip code or that? Did you go to a school where nearly everybody tests above grade level or where nearly everybody tests below? Love has been raised by his grandmother, Toya Polk. His father lives in another state. His mother was diagnosed with glaucoma when she was 24, can only see light and dark out of her right eye and has extremely limited vision out of her left. What is Grizzlies Prep? Learning just wasn't a big priority for Love before he arrived at Grizzlies Prep in 6th grade. It certainly wasn't because he was dumb. There is this national cliché that is pushed every day by national news and local news, that you've got these poor young kids of color and they're just showing up to school and they don't want to work, and it's absolutely not true, said Parker Couch, principal of Grizzlies Prep. It's the zip code they are zoned for, and the school they are zoned for, and all of these factors they have absolutely no control over whatsoever. Kids like Courtney, who was probably passed along because he's awesome, and he's really nice, and he's really kind, so he sits in the back of the class and doesn't make a teacher's life a living, you know what, then he gets to be 3 years behind. More, Grizzlies reward JB Bickerstaff for keeping team together. The mission of the Grizzlies and Grizzlies Prep, the only school in the country that bears the name of a professional sports team, is to reverse this devastating trend before boys get to high school. It is a public, all-boys charter school at which scholars, yes, scholars, raise their reading levels by an average of 2.5 years every year they are at the school. Love just finished a book about Angela Davis. He loves writing, history and the sciences. He recently scored in the 87th percentile in a national science test. He confesses right up front that he's not much of a sports fan, but he knows the Grizzlies because he sees them all the time at his school. July 14, 2016. Conley resigned with the Grizzlies to a 5-year, $153 million contract. He said the deal is a tremendous opportunity. I'm so excited for these next 5 years. Yolanda M. James, the Commercial Appeal, photo, Yolanda M. James. Perry is at Grizzlies Prep every Tuesday to mentor a group of boys. Andrew Harrison mentors a 7th grader. Former coach David Fizdale still texts back and forth with an 8th grader he had been mentoring. New coach JB Bickerstaff and his wife donated 40 books for the top students in March and are about to host 8 students who did especially well on a math assessment test. This is not something where I'm getting on the phone and soliciting, Couch said. This is genuine and organic engagement from so many members of the organization, from President of Business Operations Jackson Wexler and General Manager Chris Wallace and right down the line. I don't know a lot about the NBA world, but this is not a marketing ploy. This is who this team is. So Couch called Poke a couple weeks ago, right after she had dropped her grandson off at school. I was like, "Okay, why is the principal calling me this early in the morning?" she said. Did he fall and trip over a step? In the meantime, Courtney was also getting the good news. "I didn't know whether to cry or shout," he said. Perry, Courtney and his grandmother will be spending May 14 to 16 in Chicago. The lottery itself is May 15th. Courtney and his grandmother will be in the audience, while Perry will be on stage. And, yes, Perry really has found a couple pairs of his old socks to bring to the event. He'll be wearing them under his suit. The Grizzlies only have a 19.9% chance to win the first pick, so you do whatever it takes. But that's where Courtney comes in, of course, and the people at Grizzlies Prep. Maybe 19.9% seems daunting to you. Courtney's already beaten much longer odds than that.